Welcome back to Let's Talk Careers with Miss B. I'm so excited to bring another incredible guest. Today we are welcoming Rema Menon, who is the director of Counselling Point. And we're going to be talking a little bit about her career journey, and then we're going to be honing in on the ever more prominent question of how to help a young person prepare for higher education and building those pathways forward. Welcome, Rema. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here with me and start this conversation, because for a young person listening to this right now, early in the academic year, they may already have questions that they want to be asking their school counselors. They may not know what to ask. Parents may be very anxious. It's a really emotional time for many young people as they begin this academic year, especially if they're in their final year of secondary education. So I'd love to get into that. But before we do, Rema, I thought let's take you back down memory lane very briefly. And where did it all begin for you? I know that as a teenager, you were interested in the sciences, and you described biology as the science that you were most interested in. Where does that enjoyment of science, how does it lead you to where you are right now as the director of a counseling point where you're helping young people?
Right. Way back when I was in 8th grade, I knew I wanted to help people. But in those times, in my limited knowledge, I thought the only way I could help people was to become a doctor or a nurse. I mean, I couldn't think beyond these kind of helping professionals. I did not even know about something called social work or so many different avenues that are open to our young people today. I did not know those things. And the main reason why I loved biology was because my mother was an incredible biology teacher. And she fostered that love in both of us, my brother and I. So that is one of the key reasons. And I really was fascinated by science, although I am not ashamed to admit I was not one of those with the 90%. And, one needed to have those kind of grades to get into med school. And I did not. So that's where my journey began. But knowing in essence what I wanted to do, not everybody knows that, but I really knew I wanted to help people. So I didn't know the path I should take to do that, but I'm glad I discovered that path.
How did you discover it, Rema? I know that this is something that young people are very afraid of. Is they often ask me, Miss V, how am I going to know that it's the right choice? How did you discover it?
So there is no exact time, or see, we kind of dramatize and romanticize the concept of knowing your passion and purpose and all of that. But let me tell you that there is a time for everything. There will be a time when you know that you're in that zone, when you're helping something or facilitating something or getting involved in something that really moves you or resonates with you. You will know that. And many times when students come into my office, they have this fear that they haven't recognized that yet, because they are hearing all around them. And, where you take Instagram or you take anything, everywhere they say, find your purpose, find your passion, and you don't work for the rest of your life. I mean, it's all mumbo jumbo, really, if you ask me. And there is increasing what shall I say, research that proves that. They say that if you are picked, your interest is picked in a certain sphere or a certain field, the more you engage yourself in that and the more you become an authority in that particular field, you will then develop a passion for it. It doesn't come overnight. It may not come overnight. Not everybody is able to recognize straight away that this is what they're going to become. And because technology and disruption has happened, all of us are continuously evolving as people. And what we thought then is not what is happening today. So we also need to have that growth mindset and embrace change, be resilient, be able to adapt to whatever is going around us. Because if we're stuck with something, we will then become dodos. I tell everybody that because I graduated way back, way before the students I am currently working with were even born, you know. So if I say that, so unless I read up, unless I go for conferences, unless I attend webinars, unless I am up to date, I will be doing students a disservice because they are very aware. These days, students look at YouTube videos, they look at websites, they are, so I don't have any hesitation to tell a student, hey guys, I need to read up on that one. Because it is a fact. I cannot be an encyclopedia knowing every little detail about every available course because Dubai is kind of like a place which has students from all over. People from various countries come here and have made this their home. This year I worked with a Japanese student, I worked with a Palestinian student, I worked with Jordanian, Canadian. I mean, earlier my practice was limited to the Asian community. But now I'm getting students from various parts of the world and mostly from the UAE, but also some from outside. So right now I'm working with a student from Hong Kong, couple from Nairobi, so as you become aware of your strengths, you want, and you're enthusiastic about what you do, you want to share that information with other people. So even as parents, I feel if we expose our children, many times I get parents saying, oh, he started off with this and then he doesn't have consistency. He's all the time flitting between different things. And I don't know how to foster some perseverance or, it's fine because even that little bit of exposure has taught that individual something. And those little somethings can add to a lot. It will help him or her join the dots when having to make a decision or having to decide on a certain thing. So it really depends on how much of exposure we give our students, our children, and how much we invest of our time in young people.
Of course, I totally agree. I think that whole discovery and exploration time is very important. And what you're saying about it won't just happen overnight is a skill that I think we are overlooking when we're helping young people, in that it's the patience to take the time and make the time. And also, do you find, Rema, that when you're working with parents, that they have an unrealistic expectation sometimes of how much time it might take a young person to explore the right course for them, the course that they feel would open opportunities?
Yes, definitely, because we are working with unique individuals with aspirations and goals themselves. So sometimes some parents try to foist their own goals on their children or dreams that they couldn't realize. Sometimes unwittingly they keep telling them, you need to do this, you're really good, I can afford it now, I couldn't when I was young, things like that. So sometimes there is an undeniable pressure on the child or young person to take up something that he may or may not be prepared for. So we need to make parents also aware. Recently, for the national, I was interviewed um, because students also just we have this whole idea that it's the Ivy Leagues, the Oxfords and the Cambridges that will do wonders for us, but not all of us are cut out for that. We probably have the grades for it, we probably have the profile, but when it comes to competing and staying the course, not everybody can do it. We recently, I don't know if you came across, Maria, that report, but unfortunately, because people are young people, because all the time they were stressed because they were working very hard to get into that Ivy League institution or that that highly ranked institution. And they were the head boy, head girl. They did so many activities. And then when they went into university, they found there were so many like them. They were not the only ones. So it is, and we also now have so many students getting 45 out of 45 in the IB, 98 out of 100 in all subjects in the CBSE. It's unrealistic. So when they go into university, it's a recipe for disaster because it's not real. It's impossible for you to get that same winning streak. So I feel parents have to be understanding. And yes, we always know that we always acknowledge if students are not working to their full potential and they are distracted by various other things that occupy their mind. We understand that. We were young too one time, right? So we also were distracted. We too did all those things. Maybe there is even more such distractions today. But what I'm trying to tell parents is that encourage them, give them the exposure, make them, it's okay if they make a few mistakes. We cannot mollycoddle them for life. We need to prepare them for life. It's not going to be, we will not be there to cushion their fall when they go into university. Everything, all decisions would need to be taken by them. So we need to be understanding. Right now, I'm working with one student. She had the opportunity of going abroad for a study abroad session. Okay. The parents really, really wanted to give that exposure to that child. When I talked to her about the pros and cons of going and, going to a new country, understanding the way the subject is taught there, getting to know people from another culture, getting to know how things work there. All of that is fine. But, the child was not emotionally ready for it, to make that transition and to make it work. And the parents were very, very hopeful that she would, because it was a very good opportunity. She sought my counsel and she told me why she was, she said, I don't want to let them down because they're willing to invest their time and energy in this whole process, but I don't feel ready for it. I said, listen, now you are old enough to advocate for yourself. I'm not going to pick your battles for you. I'm not going to be a spokesperson. You need to speak for yourself and say, this is the reason why I can't do this at this point. Maybe in the future, you can go for your master's. If you're not mentally ready, you're not going to be make use of that opportunity, right? So parents are well-meaning. They really, really want the best for their kids. But sometimes there's it's not that they disappoint, but it's just that they're not ready. So we need to be, as parents, we should be accepting of that as well.
Rema, you help parents and you help their children preparing for those higher education pathways moving forward. In your experiences, when would the right time be for a young person and a family to begin this journey?
Right. I feel that the sooner the better. The earlier they have experiences in understanding about various careers, understanding what the prerequisites are, because oftentimes I've found, especially students from the UAE who are in the local schools, they wait until the board exam results come, or rather their 12th standard results come, to decide where to go and what to do. But that's too late, especially because when you understand that most of the universities overseas have deadlines as early as 1st of Jan or 15th of October, especially if it's med school. And I have students right now who have come in from other countries who have contacted me from other countries and say, can we now get into med school? I said, hello. I mean, those deadlines went way past. So especially if you're looking at going overseas to study, even if you're going to study in the UAE, we have certain universities that have a deadline which is in January. So I feel the more aware students and parents are about the prerequisites for applications, the more aware they are of what it entails, different careers. So the more we become more discerning if we know what is on offer, what are some of the things that you will do when you take up that particular course. So it's never too early to introduce them to different things.
I
This
think
is
it's
my
I think it's also important to clarify the differences between a career and a course. And I think sometimes parents confuse this, and I think sometimes counselors use the two words interchangeably, but it's important that we clarify. So for context, the decision making, the process, there's really two conversations. One is what course, what degree am I interested in, and what are the prerequisites to get into that course? And then a conversation about occupations and industries and careers, in my opinion, should always come before the course. But for many students, because of the way the education system is really set up, that degree conversation comes first. So, in thinking about the degree and the course and the pathway of applying for that course or that degree, you're talking about these deadlines. So, if you could put a number on it, what grade, what year group, or even what age should a young person begin exploring the deadlines for a degree and for a course?
No. More importantly, I feel because in the British system, for example, or even in the ICSE system, they need to select subjects, right? So if they know what path they want to go on, what sort of career they hope to achieve, and what is the course requirement, then it is necessary right from eighth grade to become aware of what is necessary. So I feel this. That's why I said the sooner they know, the better. But and when they apply to university, everything that they do from eighth grade counts. So I see a lot of Indian families who focus on you know the public exams and also the competitive exams to get into med school, NEET and the AIEEE and things like that. So from ninth grade, some students are already enrolled in this whole thing, and some of them just give up because they just fed up because there's so much to do in school, and then they're doing this additionally. So so it all depends on the individual and how much he or she is really wanting to get into all those competitive exams. And there's so much to be done, especially if a student is looking at going to a place that is very competitive like India. So I feel sooner they know, the better they will be organized. So, and not only that, when they are applying to universities, they have to tell universities about what else they did other than the academic preparedness. So this is the reason why I feel, because some of them come to me with these many certificates saying, oh, she's this and she's that and she's done this, and this guy has gone for this robotics and Bharatanatyam and what have you. And then after that, high school comes along and nothing. That doesn't work like that, right? So I feel, and then they say, yeah, it was so important. The marks are the ones that determine what they will do in the future. So we didn't allow him or her to participate. No, he was asked to be the captain of the cricket team and the prefect and all of that, but that will distract him. He will not be able to focus. She won't take up anything but she will invest all of her time in her extracurriculars, and then this will be on on the back burner, things like that. So I feel we have to have a sort of a balance between all of this, and that is not an easy task for a young person who has so many demands on his or her time. It is not easy. I
No, it's
acknowledge
definitely
that.
not easy
Yeah.
at all. It's a very emotional, very, and especially alongside, as you said, all the expectations that are put on a young person through their education journey and getting those grades and the constantly trying to be the best, as you were saying earlier on. Rema, when you think about your top three career tips for a young person, as an entrepreneur yourself who had an interest in sciences and biology, understood that she liked helping people and found her career pathway, into helping young people and also helping families, but you're also wearing that dual hat as an entrepreneur. What would you say to a young person that's thinking, I don't know what I want to do, but I think I want to do something like you did, Miss Menon. I want to be an entrepreneur.
Sure. You have to have an open mind. You have to, do your due diligence about whatever it is that you want to, whatever it is that you want to invest your time and effort in. So, uh, if you're able to identify something that the market needs, something where there is synergy between what you really, really enjoy doing and what the market needs and what would be a really good fit, that you need to do the business plan, you need to see how much it would cost, you would need to see how much of time you're willing to give to try it out, especially if it is a person straight out of school or straight out of university. Because it's not, I always encourage students to think it's fine, you can do absolutely anything you want, but you need to be prepared that sometimes it may not work, so you should be having an open mindset. I mean, when I started in 2005, I had nobody in my family who's ever been in an entrepreneur. Everybody has worked for somebody or an institution or things like that. So when I started my own practice, people in my family were very diffident. I was confident because when I came in here in 98, I recognized from 98 to 2002, I was working for one of the largest schools here. And I realized there's not enough being done to help students in this whole journey of career quest and applications to university and all the whole thing that comes about in this pathway for careers, so this is the reason why when I went for my license to the Dubai Economic Department, they really didn't even know that what counseling meant or what is it that I was trying to do. And until I explained and I told them what my action plan and what I had done in India and where I see is a big huge lacuna, now you see there's so many people who are doing things here. Even some parents who just help their children with applications feel they have become experts and they have set up on their own. It takes a long time to actually, it's like I was reading somewhere, when you plant some seeds, you don't keep on digging in to see has it sprouted, has it germinated. You have to give it some time. And you have to wait and be patient. But when things are not going well, and if it is a commitment. So if things don't go well and you try your level best and you put in the effort, you put in the money and still doesn't work out, you have to have also the mindset to acknowledge that maybe it's not going right. So I feel we have to know when to walk away as well. It's not all success stories, but these challenges provide us with strength, and it makes us much more strong to do the things we really truly believe in. And when we are working for ourselves, sometimes we feel, there are things that we should know. And for example, my students tell me, ma'am, you should be investing more time on social media. You should be, making TikTok videos. And hello, I mean, uh, that's the youth for you. They are very much into all those Insta pros and this and that. It's fine. I get all my clients through word of mouth. So, but we have to acknowledge the fact that the world is moving in a different pace. So if I use the same techniques that I followed years ago, it's not going to work. So if it is Instagram and if it is posting on social media, talking to a person like you and, having this broadcast to many people, so be it. we have to embrace whatever is the latest techniques and strategies to build our practice, irrespective of what a line of work we choose to do. This is
Amazing.
my
Amazing, amazing tips, Rema. It has been an incredible conversation. We've touched on so many things. We have in front of us, if you're just tuning in right now, we have Rema Menon, who has a master's degree in medical and psychiatric social work from Stella Maris College. And you worked as a social worker as well. How did you find that experience as a social worker helps you today when you're helping young people on their post-secondary education pathway?
Okay, there's a lot of similarity because in those times I was in charge of, I was actually working in the field of non-institutional support services for children. And I was promoting the concept of Indian adoptions by Indian families. A lot of families who were Indians and wanted to adopt in those times were not given the opportunity because most of the children were sent abroad for foreign adoptions. And I I was working with the Indian Association for Promotion of Adoption and Child Welfare, as well as the Indian Council for Child Welfare, both of whom were dedicated to the protection of children and their well-being. So I had a huge. For me, it was very, very rewarding to work in that space. In those times, I was finding the right match between the family and a child who needed a family. Now I'm finding the right fit for a child with a university.
And
So,
definitely still helping in so many ways, the family and the child again. Rema, it has been such a pleasure. I'm going to have to bring this conversation to a wrap, but I have a feeling we're going to pick it up again very soon and have more depth in conversations as the application process builds momentum through the academic year. Thank you for being here with me and for sharing your career journey and some of the tips that you have for families and lots of food for thought, pieces of information that you gave based on your experiences. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you, Maria. It has been an absolute pleasure. All the best, students and families. This journey is a long one. It will be a lifetime journey because we're all lifelong learners. All the very best. Thank you very much.
And that brings us right to the end of another incredible conversation. Today, we were speaking with Rema Menon, who is the director of Counselling Point. And if you have a look at the information in the description box, you'll be able to see how you can reach out to Rema if you are interested in learning more about the work she does with teenagers. I will see you all at my next Let's Talk Careers with Ms. V.